Growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Congrats, your business is doing great. All your hard work is paying off, but you need help like now, and you have to hire fast. How can you hire amazing candidates quickly? Easy, just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed sponsored jobs help you stand out and hire fast. And with sponsored jobs, your posts jump to the top of the page for your relevant candidates so you can reach people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. One of the things I love most about Indeed is that it has one of the largest databases of job seekers, giving employers access to a wide range of candidates. And with job alerts, I get notified when new candidates apply. And with Indeed sponsored jobs, there's no monthly subscriptions, no long-term contracts, and you only pay for results. So how fast? Well, in the minute that I've been talking to you, 23 hires were made on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support a show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, Indeed, is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook. This is the Smart Passive Income Podcast with Pat Flynn, session number 274. It's time to get down.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He once played in a steel drum band, Pat Flynn.
Still using a copy-paste website? Break the template trap with Framer. Whether you're overwhelmed by traditional site builders or frustrated with cookie-cutter designs, Framer gives you the freedom to create a site that's professional, polished, and uniquely yours. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. It's free to start, allowing you to browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something on your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, parallax scrolling, scroll animations, looping animations, and much more in seconds. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting, generating starter layouts, and can even translate your entire site to any language. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Running a business means legal questions are inevitable. Is this contract or agreement solid? What can I do if a client won't pay me? Am I set up properly for taxes? Well, rather than trying to navigate all of this on your own or searching endlessly online, imagine having a law firm on your side without the high hourly rates. That's exactly what Legal Shield's small business plans offer. With Legal Shield, entrepreneurs get access to real legal support, contract reviews, collection letters, guidance on business formation, and even help handling IRS audits. Members can book consultations, upload documents through the app, and work with a provider law firm that understands small business laws in your state. You also get proactive help on tax and trademark questions so you can stay ahead of legal risks. And if a client delays payment, Legal Shield can send professional collection letters to help you recover what you're owed, all for a fraction of what traditional attorneys charge. Go to LegalShield.com/SPI or call 833-570-9980 to learn more and get big business legal support without a big business budget. That's LegalShield.com/SPI. What's up, everybody? Paflin here. Thank you so much for joining me in this session of the Smart Passive Income Podcast. So this coming Monday is a huge day in the life of SPI, in the life of my business. A brand new course is coming out there to help you. It's one that's been asked for so long, and it was beta tested, and we put it together. We tested it, and it's now going to be available to the public for the first time ever, July 17th through July 24th. It's my brand new course called Power Up Podcasting. It's there to help you streamline the process of getting your podcast set up and running and launched. Not just setting up your podcast, but how to launch it properly, how to market it, and then later on down the road, how to automate it, how to start monetizing it, all those kinds of things. And I'm there to hold your hand all the way through. You even get access to me through office hours. Plus, there's a community there to help you as well. This was a course that I beta tested actually in front of a live audience. And here's the thing, going into this, and I'll tell you why it happened in a minute, but going into this presentation, which I knew was going to include a pitch at the end, I was scared. Really, really scared, because I am not somebody who was always very comfortable selling. It often scared me, and I just wasn't very good at it to start. And traditionally, it was just something that always scared me. That's why I had done affiliate marketing for so long. And even though people had been begging me and asking me for courses of all different types, I just said, no, I'm going to give away that information for free, and I'll just make money off the affiliate commissions. And I've soon realized that that's a very dangerous thing to do, because if you rely specifically and only on affiliate marketing, any of those relationships with those companies could go away for whatever reason, and then there goes your income. It's always best to have your own stuff to sell if possible. So for the longest time, I was doing affiliate marketing, and I have now, since this year, have actually been selling my own courses. And it's been amazing. It's been awesome. And it's been so cool to have something that I can confidently sell. However, this particular time, I was creating a course specifically for Chalene Johnson's audience, who were very much in need of a podcasting course and somebody to help teach them. And it was Chalene who challenged me to come to her stage at Marketing Impact Academy in March of 2017 and sell this brand new product on stage. And that is something I never thought I would do. And I'll tell you more about how that went down in just a minute. But I will say that we also have an amazing guest coming on, and that is Chalene Johnson, the one who actually challenged me. And we talk specifically about how to avoid that slimy feeling that you get when you sell. Not how to trick your audience. No, that's not what this is about. It's about how to serve your audience through the products that you have to offer them. And the thing is, if you don't have confidence in what you're selling, if you feel slimy about selling this thing that you actually know is going to help people, well, then your audience is going to feel not very confident in what it is that you're offering, and more than likely not purchase. So it's not about being a slime ball. It's about how to get over those feelings of becoming a slime ball when you know that you actually have something great to offer. And we're going to talk about that in this episode. But I want to take you back into time, actually, like we always do. We get into the DeLorean here on the show. And I'm going to take you back to 2013. I was invited to speak at an event in Chicago. And it was where a number of internet marketers were going to come and provide a lot of value to a large audience. And what was really cool was that I got to invite 10 people in my audience to come for free. And so I did that, and it was great. I got to meet some of my fans there and speak on stage. But here's the thing. I remember sitting in the audience and watching the first person speak. And it was one of those events where there's only one stage and everybody watches everybody who speaks. And the first person was amazing. Oh my gosh, just such mind-blowing content. And then all of a sudden, 45 minutes in the presentation, it turned into a pitch fest. And it was one of those things that I just, in my head, realized that people were invited for free to go to this event because the organizer was going to make money on the back end of it from all these sales. And the way that a lot of these people were pitching, it was just getting under my skin a little bit. And to see just hordes of people get up and spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on things that I just, I want to give credit to those people who were selling, because they did it very well. And again, I didn't know much about them or their product, but they had great presentations, they had great pitches. But it was just, I just couldn't imagine doing that. So actually, at that event, when I spoke and I got up, I was the only speaker to not sell anything. I think it was just going on so much. Every speaker was pitching that when I finally got up, which was on the last day, and I said, hey guys, and I actually kind of rearranged my presentation to sound like a pitch at the end for something that I actually gave away for free. And so people actually got up and applauded. And so that ingrained in my head that selling on stage was bad. And so when I was invited to this event by Chalene to go to Marketing Impact Academy and sell this course, I was immediately thinking that I was going to become one of those people that I really didn't agree with. And it really was a big challenge for me. And Chalene and I had a number of conversations about this, and she really helped my mindset around this idea that I had something amazing to offer, and she was calling on me for help, and her audience needed my help. And that alone was enough to kind of get me over the edge to actually try this thing out. And there was a lot of work done with the presentation to still provide value even if people didn't purchase. And, it's similar to the webinar formula. But here's the thing. I went up on stage. I shared my story. I shared about how podcasting can change my life and what it did for me. I shared a lot of the content that I learned related to podcasting that I knew was going to be helpful for people no matter what content medium they used. And then about an hour in, actually, I had about 2 hours on stage available to me. About an hour in, I started talking about this product, and the craziest thing happened. When I shared that I had this product that was going to be available for this audience as a beta test, it was called Power Up Podcasting, I actually got an applause. And that kind of freaked me out. I didn't expect that. So I share my story, and then I reveal that I have this product that I want to offer for people who want to start a podcast and the fast track to do so. And I got an applause from the audience. And I don't know if it's because the audience knew me and knew that I had trouble selling, or knew that I just was finally coming out with my own products after doing this for 8 years. But that applause got me going, and it got me motivated. And then the craziest part was that before I even revealed the price point of that product, people were already getting up out of their seats. Because the way it works at these events is you hand out forms, and people fill out these forms with their information, and then they go to the back of the room where they then do that transaction to get access to the course later on. People were getting up and going to the back even before I mentioned the price, and it just blew me away. And the thing about this event was I was going into it very scared that I knew I was going to sell some. And I was very scared that I was going to go home after selling a few of these things and wanting to take a shower and just feeling like a sleazeball and just wanting to, there was a clip I remember from Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, where he had just done something he wasn't supposed to, and then was in the shower naked in the corner, crying. That's how I thought I was going to be. And I felt the exact opposite, because immediately after I spoke, I went to the back of the room to thank all the new customers, and they were thanking me. Pat, thank you so much for this opportunity to get this course. Pat, this is exactly what I needed. I'm just so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much. Can we take a picture? It just kept going. And there was a line of about 160 people who purchased. We took pictures. I thanked them. They thanked me. And I got home, and I just had to kind of let it all resonate with what had just happened. And I felt great. That was the most amazing feeling I've had in a while in terms of what I was doing and selling. I felt great selling something. And then to see the students go through the course and actually now have their podcast up on iTunes, to leave these amazing testimonials, man, now I want to do it some more, right? This has completely changed my mindset about selling. And it's all about what it is you're offering and how you offer it. It's not about tricking your audience and having them believe something that isn't true. It's about you knowing that this thing that you have to offer is truly worth what it is that you're sharing in the offer that you are making. So I cannot wait to talk about this, because I know a lot of you struggle with this. I've struggled with it for years. So this is a very personal episode, and I cannot wait to have Chalene come on, who is experienced with selling and selling great products. Everything from infomercial-related things to her own products to events, those kinds of things. So let's not wait any further. Here she is, Chalene Johnson from Build Your Tribe, The Chalene Show, and ChaleneJohnson.com. Hey, everybody, what's up? I'm so happy to welcome back Chalene Johnson on the show. Chalene, thank you so much for being here.
Pat, this is my honor. I'm so excited.
This is going to be, I feel like, one of the most important episodes that people can listen to. And to set this up, I want to talk about how I used to be, I would say a couple of years ago. And to keep this short, I just didn't feel good about selling. Selling to me was slimy. I was making money through affiliate marketing, so I didn't feel like that was selling. I was just essentially offering recommendations based on what I was using. But when I got to the point at which I realized that I had to sell, and we'll talk about why in a minute, I just felt icky and slimy. And I know this is a topic that you're very passionate about, Chalene, and you've actually helped quite a bit to help me break through a lot of the mental barriers related to this. Can you speak on, like, why do you think that most people feel this way when it comes to selling things?
Because we've been taken advantage of before. We've all bought things that we felt pressured or guilted or tricked into buying. And so our radar is on high alert that we are going to be taken advantage of. And nothing feels worse than being taken advantage of. And it's not that we don't believe that we're helping our audience or helping someone when we're selling something. We just don't want to trigger that alarm in someone else. I think that's why people feel that way. Unless, of course, and I think there's exceptions to that, unless, of course, you're selling something you don't believe in which case your guilt is appropriately placed.
Right. Well, let's talk about that really quick. I think a lot of people come from a place of serving and wanting to do that. And there are a certain percentage of people who know that they're just scammy, slimy, snake oil salesman, and I don't even want to get into that because I think it's obvious that, well, maybe they just feel guilty because they know that they don't believe in what they're offering. So it's really important to have that belief that what it is that you have to offer is worth it. And I know a lot of people who have amazing things to offer who still experience this fear, and because of it, they sell but without confidence, and as a result, they don't get great numbers, right?
Right.
Have you ever experienced that in the past?
Yes. And how do you feel, right, when somebody offers you something and you can just tell they're not comfortable with it. They're not completely confident in what they've just offered to you, and therefore it affects your confidence. It affects the way you feel about this thing. You know, the example I can think of is if you've ever bought an outfit that isn't even at all your style, but there's something about the store that you bought in and the way the salesperson felt you looked in it, the way they convinced you. And I believe that they might have thought you looked amazing in it. So you probably feel better about that outfit than maybe you should. And it had a lot to do with that person's belief and confidence and opinion of how you looked in that outfit, even though when you look in the mirror, you're like, should I have bought this? So my point is, the way we feel about what it is we offer to our audience affects their experience with that thing. So if they're already walking into this with a confidence, with a belief that it's going to help them, then the likelihood of them going through it with the right attitude and having the right outcome is much higher. So we're really doing our audience and the people that we serve a great disservice by having low confidence. Imagine if you sent your kids off to school each day and you were like, school is good for you. I think you're going to learn some stuff. You know, you've got to get them pumped up about life, or they go into it with an attitude that isn't going to serve them.
Right, but I think the act of selling and telling somebody that you have something that's right for them and collecting a payment, I mean, that just scares the crap out of people. Even if you really believe in what you are offering, like, how do you connect what you're offering with asking for people to pay money for it? I think that's really where people are struggling. It's
a mindset shift. Now, when we started, Pat, you said in the beginning, I didn't like selling, but I was doing affiliate marketing, and you said very quickly, which was just making recommendations, which was helping my listeners. And so I want to ask you, how is offering something that you've created, if you've created something, isn't that your belief that you're going to create that because it's going to help your listeners?
Yes, I then kind of diving deeper into this, it might be a lack of confidence in the quality that I've potentially put into something. And I've actually experienced that before.
I listened to an episode on your podcast where you were talking about this kind of online, I forget what it was, but it was a continuity program where they paid monthly. Yep. And I really wanted to sit down with you after listening to that episode, because I think when I was listening to that, I'm like, you let them talk your confidence down, in that process. And when we're thinking about what it is we're creating for people, you just have to start, and you want to price things so that you feel almost like people are taking the price is so dang good that it is a crime that you're offering it to people at this price. And the only way to do that is to over deliver and underprice it. And that's how I feel like when, in fact, I wouldn't say that this is advice I would give to everyone, because I've made this mistake. I've given way too much to people because of my own insecurities about that. Like, for example, our program, the Marketing Impact Academy, we market it as being an 8-week course. I'm just going to be very transparent right now. We market it as being an 8-week course. It's not. It's a 16-week course. It's giving you your business life. Like, we cover everything from developing a business to reaching your targeted audience to marketing on every single social media platform to running Facebook ads to you name it. But it's so much that people don't get all the way through it, which means I've got to work extra hard to remind people that you don't need anything else, just go back in, right? But that's because of my own insecurities in pricing something in the higher price range and saying, and maybe insecurities, but it's also how I overcome selling a product that's priced at over $2,000. I need to feel like when I'm saying to my audience, you cannot believe what you're getting for this price. You will be shocked. It will give you, I need to believe that so much that my face turns red with passion, that I'm almost getting mad at people because I'm saving them so much money. So the one way you can overcome that is, number one, lower your price to a point at which you really feel passionately this is such an amazing opportunity for people, or deliver more, perfect your product so that you feel so confident when you tell people the opportunity that's available to them that people who don't take advantage of it, you almost feel bad for them.
Well, then why not just give it away for free?
Well, because you also want people to have skin in the game. You and I both know this. If I give somebody this is great because the platform that we use for a lot of our academies actually will show me what percentage of each lesson each of my students has watched, which is awesome, because it's like as if your teacher could actually see what homework you really did and what homework you copied, and if in fact you're studying. So I can log in and I can see exactly how much each one of my students is watching. And I can tell you that there's been many instances where I have given away product or have even offered one of my products as a bonus for free to, kind of incentivize them to make another purchase. People who get it as a bonus and people who get it for free, don't freaking do it, because there's no investment. And once I figured that out, whether it was like someone who's like, I swear I'll go through every single lesson. Please just give me a scholarship. And we do it. And I always track it because I can't, I'm waiting for that day when somebody shocks me and actually goes all the way through. And there's been a few exceptions, but in general, when people don't have an investment, they don't value what it is they've got in front of them.
I remember when I first started getting really serious about fitness, and this was after I had my first kid, Chalene, who's now 7. But I remember after he was a baby, I wasn't working out. I wasn't eating well. I just felt very tired. I was like huffing and puffing going up the stairs. I needed to change. And so I was telling my friends this, and they said, hey, Pat, like I have a P90X video. Like, I'll give it to you, and you should just do it. And I knew that if I had taken his offer, I wouldn't have done the thing. I wouldn't have gone through the daily ritual of getting on and watching Tony Horton do his thing. Right. I knew that I had to go and pay for it in order for me to, like you said, have skin in the game and actually be motivated to do it. So I did. And my friends thought I was crazy. Like, why would you pay for it? Like, it's right here. Like, take it.
Yeah.
You know? But you're right. That skin in the game is really important. So then that begs the question, well, then how do you know what price to charge?
Well, there's a couple of different ways you can look at that. I will say this. I don't believe today we should be creating anything on a pad of paper and brainstorming, because we have access to what is the most valuable thing in the world when it comes to infomercials. So, Pat, as you know, a lot of your listeners may know me from the infomercials that I've done. The show that's on TV right now is called PIO, and right now it's doing really well. Been in the number one spot for a couple of months.
My wife loves it.
Oh, awesome! That's great to hear. I love her. But one thing that for the last 10 years, I've learned from the money that it requires to invest to do an infomercial is you can't guess at how to price things or what your market wants. So we would conduct these very expensive focus groups to figure out, like, okay, so what are the words that they're looking for, and how do they feel about this name, and what do they like about the pricing, and how would it affect people's buying decisions if it were priced at 2 payments or 1 flat payment, and what should that price point be? Well, the average new entrepreneur can't afford a $10,000 focus group, or as much as $100,000 for a focus group. Mm-hmm. But what every entrepreneur can do, who has even, say, 20 or 30 followers in social media, is ask your audience. So one thing I recommend people do is, before you price it, don't even guess at what you're going to price it. Offer it as a beta test to a very select group of your target audience, not your best friends, not the ones who are going to, say what you want to hear, but an audience, a very small audience, and take them through it. Have them go through your program, have them finish it, have them tell you how it can be improved, where they got stuck, what they would like more of, what they wanted less of. Everything. And then in the end, they're doing that in exchange for information. And what should this be priced at? What would you have paid for this? How valuable was this to you? How did this help you? How much money did this save you? And those kinds of things make it so much easier. And then therefore, you feel so much more confident about your pricing.
Right. And your product, because you're going to realize it's actually helping people.
Yes.
At that point.
I can't tell you how many programs we've been able to fix before we ever released them, and that we've been able to land the right price from the beginning because we use a beta test group. And you can charge for a beta test. In fact, now one of the things I teach to my own students is you need to charge for the beta test, or mm-hmm. people won't do it. Even though it's free, you've got to charge, even if it's a lower price. You have to let people know that this is the beta test price. You're getting this deeply discounted price in exchange for information. I just tested 15,000 people through a diet program that we're going to be launching later this year. And, that was explained up front. You're going to get this deeply discounted price. You're going through the beta testing of this. We'll fix it, revise it, and improve it based on your feedback. But you're agreeing to do this based on this price that you'll give us your feedback. And then at the end of it, we send a very simple survey, and I ask them everything. And the responses back were priceless.
Can you share like one or two of the responses that were really kind of eye-opening?
Totally. Oh my gosh. Yes. It's like, oh man, I knew that, like smack my hand upside my head. One thing they said was, it's too much information. I would have paid more if there was less. And that's hard. Like my brain thinks, wow, really? Yeah. There were too many lessons. So then we dialed it back and thought, okay, and then we just continued with more. We were able to ask more and more questions. Like, so what does that mean? What pieces were too much? How do you want it delivered? What's the right amount of content? Because sometimes we think, well, if I just give people more, I can price it more. But if you think about it, the most valuable thing in the world to people is their time. So it's not always that you can price a program that has a lot of detail at a higher price point. It's what kind of a result can you deliver in the shortest amount of time possible.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing the inside scoop on that. I've seen what you've talked about related to that test on Instagram and actually on Snapchat as well. I think it's a great example to follow. So thank you for that. Now,
another thing I would say that they said to us was that in some of the videos where I was teaching kind of in-depth content that became a little bit sciencey, they just flat out told me, watching you on video is distracting. because I'm a girl or I'm a female. And so I'm looking at your lipstick and I'm wondering where you bought your jewelry. And then I realize 5 minutes have gone by and I haven't paid attention to what you're saying. So we revised it, tested it again, and turned those important science-based lessons into audios. And we got a much better response.
Ah, interesting. See, so you're putting up work up front, but it's to a test to understand, okay, how to feel about this and what's working, what's not, how to price it, all those things. I think that's really important. It's not anything that happens overnight, but it's definitely worth the process. Now, if I were to ask you, Chalene, going back to this idea of selling and being comfortable with it, are there strategically ways that are better than others to feel good about selling?
Yeah.
Give us the good ways to do it.
It has to authentically be something that has helped you and you want to help other people with. People will often say to me, so what do you think you're going to be doing 5 years from now? And I always answer, I don't know and I don't care, but I can tell you this, I don't need to plan that because I know I will be helping people avoid whatever I've just been through, or I will be helping people understand whatever challenge I've just overcome. Mm-hmm. And because that's what makes me passionate. That's what gives me purpose. That's what makes me feel like like these weird things that happen to us. I always believe this was meant to happen because I'm meant to help. I'm here not for myself. I'm here to help other people. And when I serve, I feel whole. And when I serve, it's just an amazing feeling. So one of the most important things you can do is look at what your challenges have been. And if you just tell that story of how you got over it, whatever that is, or through it, or around it, or saved yourself time, or, anytime you're just the same way you would sit down with a friend who's about to go through something you've already been through, you feel good about the fact that you can save them time, money, agony, stress, anxiety, heartache. And that feels really good. So start by telling your story. And then and so I always tell people, just get good at telling the story of how you got to the other side. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't got to the other side, then it's not time to help people yet, right? Like you've got to get through it and to have some opportunity that people are looking forward to, like the possibility has to be there for others to see that and to believe that it's possible for them too.
I love that. So that's the point in the conversation where a person might say then, well, Chalene, I completely understand your motivations for doing this. This is awesome. It's coming from a place of giving and serving and from your heart based on situations that you've been in as well and how you've gotten to the other side. Tell me about the product. And so when people come to that point in the conversation, and it doesn't matter where this conversation is happening, when you begin to start talking about your product specifically, your solution for them, I think at that point for a lot of people is when the sliminess comes, or the icky feeling where you have to take a bath afterwards comes. What's the best way to present your product in a way that's going to make it an honest, authentic serving situation as opposed to, oh, here's all the things that are going to make you pay for this?
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up because I think this is the number one mistake that people make when they get to that point is in their minds, they start thinking, oh man, I've just told my story and now I've got to sell. And I think that's a wrong way to look at this. And we can tell your voice. I've watched people do this. Their voice changes, their demeanor changes. They stumble for their words when they get to this point in the sale. And to me, that's someone who's no longer serving. They actually have switched from serving to selling. And if you stay in the mode of serving, you won't do this. But here's what you have to avoid. You have to avoid that script, the thing that you think other people want to hear is included or that it gives you or that it's going to do for you or that sets it apart. You really have to stick to your own script. So for me, in most cases, what I'm doing is when I'm going to sell, let's just say that I'm offering something to my audience on Facebook. And I've done this. I've done my own launches kind of infomercial style on Facebook. Thank you, Mark Zuckerberg. I just can't thank you enough. I'm like, am I really doing this for free? I can't even believe he's not charging me. But, I'll go live on Facebook and I start by doing this. Here's my formula. Hook them with the problem. So you've got to grab them with, that qualifying question. And that's not necessarily a hook. I see that as serving my audience to say, is this worth, should you even be staying tuned for the next 30 minutes? Because if the answer to this question is yes, stay. And if it's not, keep scrolling. So I might say, have you been like exercising yourself into the ground and you're pounding your joints? It feels like you're working out longer and longer and more intense, and you're adding all these workouts and you're eating cleaner. You're eating like super clean, and now you're eating fewer calories. And it is crazy because the scale is not freaking moving. If that is something you can relate to, stay tuned, because I'm going to address why that's happening. If that's not you, have a great day. That would be my lead-in to something like, for example, my diet program. And then I have to describe my own story. And for you, Pat, let's say that's someone who's struggling to figure out how they're going to build their business and reach an audience. So whatever it is, think about your own story, and you have to describe it with truth and vulnerability and honesty, and not worry about what people think or how they'll judge you. You don't tell a story, you have people relive your story. And so in that, I will then really tap back into like what I was feeling and what I am feeling. And my audience then feels a level of trust because they know I'm not trying to come across as better than anyone else. This is just truly what I've been through. Mm-hmm. And then that transition is kind of letting people know that I was searching for a solution, a way to get through this challenge, right? Or searching for that thing that would fix the problem, whatever the problem is. And that's when I start detailing how it was I discovered the solution. This is where people then start selling. Like, let's say, for example, what I'm doing is I'm trying to explain to people how incredibly valuable it is for them to have some form of passive income. Even if you love your job and you say your boss is never going to fire you, you're too valuable. And I'm speaking to my audience, and I want them to become a distributor with my MLM. Or maybe I want them to go through my course that teaches them online marketing. Well, the mistake most entrepreneurs make is that they go, okay, so what I would like to offer you today is, and what it includes is a video, and then it has some PDF download. Like, they just start going through the stuff, right. And what you really should be doing is, like, instead of saying, detailing it like that, just tell people, like, what problems did that solve, right? And so what does it do for you? Like, how does this benefit me? Not what is it, but like, how does it benefit me? Most people start talking about, quote, the features, right? Like, it's got 7 downloads. What do I care? I want to know how does this benefit me? How is this going to change my life? And so if you avoid talking about all the features, and you really start thinking about the benefits and how that's just your, like, and not technically, just really think about your story, your truth, your passion, and how it has benefited you. And in other words, if you just tell people how this worked for you, and if you avoid other people's scripts, because it's not your truth, mm-hmm. right? Like, so some people say, I went into multi-level marketing because it can help you to bring income into your home if you're a stay-at-home mom. Well, if that's not your truth, you shouldn't even say that, because that's a script. If the truth is you didn't feel like you had any purpose, and you woke up most days and put your sweatpants on, and you were just taking care of your kids, and you just didn't feel like you feel guilty to say this. Like, I would literally say that. I say, I feel guilty to say this because I know being a mom is like the most important job in the world. But to be honest, I felt really unfulfilled. I didn't feel like I had importance or significance. And this business, forget about the money. I don't even care about that. I was able to help people, and I was able to lead people, and I felt significance and importance. So maybe, like, when you tell your truth, it's so much easier than, like, hearing other people's scripts and trying to work it into yours.
Right. I love that, because I think we've gotten to a point, especially in this industry, where you kind of know when that pitch starts. You're like, oh, here comes the pitch, right? Especially on webinars, it's like, okay, 45 minutes of value, 15 minutes of pitch, and then you kind of you can define exactly when that pitch starts to happen. And I think we just almost expect that now. But when you just have it be real and a part of your story, like it just is all infused together, and it doesn't even become a pitch. It just becomes a conversation where the natural conclusion is to simply get whatever it is that you're offering. And I think that's the way to approach it. And in terms of like the features, I still think those are important to mention, but like listing them out, here's what you get, this, and this is no. You might want to also make stories about those. For example, when I was learning this stuff, I had to read like 10 or 20 books to do it, but it's really convenient here because I've only created 4 videos that walk through the whole thing. So you're saving yourself a ton of time. You know what I mean? It's like
exactly. Oh my gosh, Pat, that's so brilliant. And that's the hallmark sign of someone who is serving and not selling. You don't feel that because it's not happening. You don't feel that shift to the sale because it's literally not happening. They literally are still serving. And I think a person who's truly serving their audience doesn't care if you take advantage of their offer or not. They just want you to avoid the pitfalls, the anxiety, the toll it can take on your relationship, your finances, whatever that challenge was. They truly just want you to avoid that. And so you do have to have that authentic care for others in order for it to never feel like you're selling.
Right. And that often comes with just trial and error and experimentation and doing. I mean, you can't just all of a sudden turn on the switch in your head. I mean, I think it comes with experience. And for me, like I was mentioning at the beginning of the show, I had experienced a sale at one point. This is related to the actual program that you were mentioning, the recurring revenue model of, it was called Breakthrough Blogging. And I really believed in the product. I knew it was great information, but I think because it was the first time I sold and I was so scared, it came across that way from people. And although it did very well in the beginning, I eventually closed it off and offered everybody a refund even 2 years later, because I just had to get that off my chest because it wasn't what I had expected and it wasn't what everybody else expected too. But the big part of it in the beginning was I just wasn't confident, and I was doing all the things wrong, but those were lessons that I had to go through and experience in order for me to now, with purpose, through serving, and with confidence, sell the courses that I now have to offer and do it in a very, very comfortable way. Like I've never been more comfortable with selling, and I feel great. I mean, you had me on stage selling Power Up Podcasting on your stage to your people. And I was so worried, Chalene, when you had challenged me to do that. For those of you listening, if you don't know what this is, poweruppodcasting.com is a course that I created to help people start a podcast and market it and keep it going in their business and brand. Chalene was the one who had convinced me to actually create this for her audience. And it was something that I had wanted to do, but this was like a great reason to do it now. And so I did it. And she said, you can come speak at my event, but only if you sell on stage and sell this product. And I initially, Chalene, I was like, no, I don't do that. I would just, I already feel icky. Like I've been to conferences where I've listened to people speak and it's great. And then all of a sudden I have to like spend $2,000 to want to continue to work with this person. Like I don't want to be that guy. And then you're like, no, you don't have to be that guy. And you taught me the way of being comfortable with selling through serving, like everything we talked about. And it was the most amazing experience because I remember going into that day, I was so worried. Like I knew people were going to buy the product because it's a great product, but I was so worried I was going to go home and feel like I was going to have to crawl up into a little ball in the shower and just like rinse like 1,000 times to get the slime off. Yeah, that's how I felt. That's crazy. But
yeah, I think that's just that is probably from your past experience. But I bet
it was.
And I don't mean to speak out of turn, but I suspect that your feeling about that is completely changed because you didn't sell from my stage. You served. And that was why I asked you to come, because there's a lot of already pre-existing podcasting courses, but I wanted to serve my audience. And so I'm like, in fact, when we were putting together our itinerary for the Marketing Impact Academy live, we start by going, okay, what does our audience need? What are they asking for that they want to deep dive? And then let's put together an itinerary. And we said, we need somebody who they all want to launch a podcast. And there's all these other courses, but I learned from Pat. And I believe that Pat is a person who is meant to serve my audience in this regard. So I think approaching it from that standpoint, and I just have to say, I know that you didn't sell because the audience, and this isn't because you're not a phenomenal speaker, it's because you're such an exceptional speaker. The chairs there's like a quarter of the people left sitting in the chairs at the end of your speech. And someone's like, go get them off the stage, because the whole back of the room was people who were, clamoring to make sure that they got a spot because they knew this was the first time you'd ever done that. And they wanted to be served by you.
It was so amazing. When I had mentioned that I had this course, I got an applause, which was unexpected. Wait
a second. Let's back up. Think about that. When have you ever sat with someone who said, by the way, I've got this thing I'd like to offer you, and heard there was a round of applause throughout the audience. Like, they weren't like saying, oh boy, now here comes the sale. They're like, yes! We can buy something from, like, they really were excited that you were going to be serving them.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first sort of small win and boost of confidence during that part. And then before I even mentioned the final price, I saw like 50 people get up and already go to the back of the room. And to have over 160 people come up to me afterwards and thank me. They were thanking me for that offer. It just really, that was the nail in the coffin in terms of like my being these limiting beliefs that I've had and the fear of selling. I'm so confident in this course and what it can do for people that that's the difference. I just knew. Yeah.
That's the difference. And, so you could feel that passion from the stage. You never were selling. You were serving throughout it. Even when you were, like you said, going through the features of what your program offers, even each of those features, as you go over them, you saw the benefit that the person listening could see, like, oh, wow. Okay, so if I am going to try to figure this out on my own, what he just mentioned as a feature in his course is something I've got to consider. Like, how much time do I want to waste? And do I know how to market my own podcast? And I really do agree with you that it does take practice. But it also, the language is helpful too, right? So if I can offer this to your listeners, there's this, key when you're taking people on this journey and you're explaining your story and you're talking about what you struggled with, and then you start explaining how you found a solution, right? Or how things worked out in your favor. You just simply say, and the way I did this was. And when you start talking about the way I did this and the way I teach other people to do this, what you should be doing is you're detailing the solution, right? And if people just think of it that way, as opposed to like, okay, now I've got to like do this big, uncomfortable, oh, by the way, I'm going to offer something here to you. Just imagine that you're taking care of people in every seat, whether or the listener, if you're on Facebook Live, the viewer. Imagine that your goal is to help every single person, even if they don't take action and invest that day.
Yeah. I mean, I just needed to say all that and thank you here publicly, Chalene, because you really pushed me into a place where I didn't think I could go and allowed me to realize things that I didn't know were possible. And I think it's really important that we all have people in our lives that help push us in this way. And I'm very thankful that Chalene's kind of come into my life and have pushed me and inspired me. You are a mentor, Chalene. I thank you for that. And so I would highly recommend you all check out Chalene's show. I mean, you have a couple podcasts, right? Where can people go and listen to more of you?
Business, they can check out Build Your Tribe, and then anything lifestyle, diet, fitness, brain health, relationships. That one is called The Chalene Show. And The Chalene Show, because it's a lot more varied, there are more episodes there. But the Build Your Tribe audience, as I've learned from you don't just have to have one podcast, and that really allows me to reach folks in the business space.
Yeah, I love that. And you were on an episode in the past here on SPI, episode 167. We'll definitely link to that one as well. That was a big one because you talked about how you've gained these amazing raving fans who you call lifers. Can you just really quick talk about why do you call your raving fans lifers?
Which is funny because that's what I used to refer to myself when I would think about the people who I would take care of. I would say to them like, oh, you can't get rid of me. I'm a lifer. And I would say that to my audience, meaning like, I'm just going to be up in your dish and, trying to help you live your life. You're not going to be able to get rid of me unless you get a restraining order. And I would say that I was lifers to them. And then my tribe started calling themselves lifers. And I think all of us have lifers, right? Like, I think the lifers are the people who they know through time, experience, that you are going to take care of them, and your integrity is everything. And that level of trust and understanding saves them time and effort and money, because they just know they're lifers. They're like, yeah, you've already done the research for me. So if that's something you're recommending, I don't have to therefore do the research, because I know your opinion means you're taking care of me as if I'm family, like for life. That's what a lifer is.
Love that. Well, I'm a lifer, Chalene. I'm very happy and proud to be a part of your audience and just to be your friend and to have you as a mentor. Thank you so much. And I know this episode is going to help a lot of people, because this is a struggle for many. And I hope you can see through my own experience and my stories how I've sort of broken through. And it did take a little bit of help from the outside to do it. And hopefully this episode is that help for you. And so thank you, Chalene. I appreciate you coming on and always providing value. And I cannot wait to have you back on the show in the future.
Well, Pat, it's been my honor today, and truly, congratulations on an exceptional course.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Chalene Johnson. A lot of great information there. I mean, really, when it comes down to success online and in your business and in life, it really comes down to the mindset, right? And I hope that you realize that selling can be okay, that it's a great thing to do, that it is an amazing way to serve those who are in need. And so I encourage you to really think deeply if you are having these issues related to selling, to really understand, A, what it is that you're offering and what that can do for people. And if there's a disconnect there between what it is that you're offering and what you are trying to do in order to serve, well, then there's a problem with what it is that you're offering. But once you have that belief, I mean, it's your duty to get it out there and sell it and be honest and authentic along the way. Tell stories like we were talking about and integrate the selling process into your story and the solutions that you're offering. So again, thank you, Chalene, for being on the show. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for supporting me, for supporting the SPI audience, and also for helping me gain the courage and the belief that I could do this. So the next course is Power Up Podcasting at poweruppodcasting.com. You can sign up for the waitlist there. The course opens only between July 17th and July 24th. It'll close down after that, because I love to work closely with those brand new students in the Facebook group and also in office hours to make sure they're getting the help that they need. They're getting their questions answered, and I cannot wait to be there to help you through that process. And we have people who are alumni now who have their podcasts up and running between the ages of 20 and 60. We have somebody who's over 60 who just came out with her show, and she has now listeners in 12 different countries around the world, thousands of downloads, and she's going to be, actually you'll hear her on the next episode coming next week, and her success and what she's been able to do with it. And also people who are just starting out their business from scratch. I mean, people who have no audience are starting with a podcast to build up their audience and start to, turn that into a platform that they can run a business from. We also have people who have taken the course who have already had businesses, and they're using a podcast as the new extension or the new arm of their business to gain new subscribers. Because, there's people out there who only want to listen to you, who aren't going to read your stuff, who aren't going to watch you on video, but they are there waiting for your message and your voice. So I cannot wait to be the person who helps you through that process. Again, poweruppodcasting.com. Sign up for the waitlist there. You'll be the first to know when the doors open this coming Monday, July 17th. And if you're listening to this episode in the future and the doors are closed, don't worry, they're going to reopen again in the future, but I don't know if it's going to be at the same price, and I'm not exactly sure when, because I'm going to really focus highly on this current group of students that are coming in next week. So thank you so much. If you want the links and everything that was mentioned in this episode, go to smartpassiveincome.com/session274. Appreciate you. Looking forward to working with you more, and I look forward to serving you next week's episode as well. Cheers, guys. Take care. Have a great one. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free, personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.